So please welcome Arke Muratova to the show. Welcome, Arke. I did it.
Yes. Thank you, Ashley, for having me. I'm honored to be here.
You
Very
are
excited.
honored. The feeling is mutual and all the way from Australia. So I really have been looking forward to this interview. And when I listened to you, it was probably a year ago. I was like, oh my gosh. I sent that YouTube video out to every single person I knew, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, what a story. What a human being, what a soul, what who you are is like, it's like this. I see you from you're in your mid 20s, right?
Late 20s.
Late
Yes.
20s. Well,
No, I
you're
think.
very young. And when I see your story and how the pieces fit together and what you're doing now and how it all weaves into this beautiful web and and who you are as a person and what the love that you have for life and what you're teaching people and what your soul came here to do is the most beautiful thing. And I don't want to sell your story short. So could we really go, I mean, maybe go into when you were 4 and how you were raised and your mom didn't raise you and all the things so people really understand because the story is just so, I mean, I say magical, but it's just such a interesting web that you have lived and it's just so fascinating and I want my whole entire world to know you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the beautiful things you said about me. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, I am now 26, turning 27 in 2 months, which is really exciting and can't believe it. But I am in my late 20s. And I think when I started giving interviews and sharing my story, I was 23, 24. So now, yeah, it's been a long time. Um, in yeah, when I started I just remember that spiritual journey's always been something really close to me, and ever since I was a kid, I would think I was 3, 4, I was very conscious. I wasn't very loud as a child. I didn't talk much, but I was very much in my mind, and I really enjoyed thinking, analyzing, and questioning everything. I would ask random questions about the life in general, about thoughts. I would ask people, do you also have your thoughts? You can hear, listen, you can choose your thoughts. Um, Adults didn't like my questions. um, so yeah, when I was 4, I up to well till the age of 6, I lived with my grandparents and my uncle in the village in Kazakhstan. So my mom and dad, they were living in a city. They were young. They gave birth to me when they were young, teenage parents. So I was growing up with my grandparents, thinking that they are my parents, and I called them my mom and dad. Um, I think when I was 4, that was when my mom visited me, and I was calling her sister, and she said, I'm not your sister, I'm your mom. I didn't believe her. And she was breastfeeding my brother, and the memories of the pre-birth memories I had, they all returned and they came back. I just remembered how she gave birth to me and what I was thinking before coming to this life. And I put everything together, and I told her in that moment, like, oh my God, I remember you're my mom. And the memory was that I was in this dark space, basically, and I did not have a physical body. I didn't have anybody around me. I just saw the bright light at the end. It was I don't know if I was getting closer to the light or the light was coming closer to me, but there was a motion. That's all I could feel, the motion and the peacefulness. And suddenly I gained consciousness. I suddenly started thinking and got a bit alert and asked the question, wait, where am I and who am I? And then there was this voice, very gentle, and she started speaking through and she started saying, It's okay. You're going to planet Earth. And then I saw the light. The light was coming closer and closer. And then I asked, what do you mean by planet Earth? What's planet Earth? The thing when I was asking is I felt really silly for asking these questions because I felt like I should have known, or I know somewhere. I just cannot remember what I know, what I should be asking. I didn't even know what questions were. Like, you don't know anything. So just simply blank. And I asked, what is planet Earth? And then the voice explained to me, said, that's your new home. And then I was like, okay, that's my new home. And then I saw in the light um, people, and they were screaming and yelling and excited. To me, everything seemed exciting. So I asked what they're doing, why they're screaming. And they were screaming the word keys, which was um, something that I heard, and I said, what does that word mean? And then the voice explained, keys means a girl in their language. You're going to be born as a girl. And I was like, cool, what's a girl? And then she started explaining there is a girl and a boy, so male and female on planet Earth. And then she explained the whole reproduction system, the difference between the boy's body and the girl's body, and how my body is able to bring and create life. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I thought that's, to me, it seemed like a superpower. And again, when I was in that state, I was a pure, just nothing. I was nothing. I didn't know anything. To me, everything was exciting. So I said, wow, that's amazing. That's cool. So I was getting closer and closer. And I felt like I should ask more questions. I just didn't know what to ask and what what is, I just didn't know. Should I ask? What should I ask? What are the questions? What's going to happen? I didn't know. And the closer I got, the sleepier I started getting. I was dozing off. I couldn't ask anymore anything. But then the the voice kept fading in the background, but the last thing she said was, don't worry, you're gonna be welcomed, you're gonna be loved, and you're gonna be supported. Remember that always. And I was just sleepy, and I just said, okay, I will remember that. I didn't even know what that meant. Again, I didn't know anything. So I said, okay, I will remember that. And then the next thing I know is I'm uncomfortable, I'm stiff. And so I am in the body of a baby. Well, you could say the physical body. I'm uncomfortable, I'm screaming, nobody can hear what I want, nothing. And then I was placed on my mother's chest so I could hear the heartbeat. I couldn't understand the language, but to me, energetically, what it felt like is when my mom started talking to me, the vibrationally, I felt very calm. And I think what she said was, I love you and I will protect you. And that's when I stopped crying, and I just felt this relief. And I said to my own self, I said, wow, they were right. I am loved. And then I just promised to myself, like, when I grow up, I'll tell her that I could hear. Um, in Yeah, so going back to the scene when my mom was in the corner breastfeeding my brother, I went up to her and I said, yes, I now remember you. You're my mom. I remember the day you gave birth to me. The thing is, as a 4 years old, there is no way that um, I would know anything about pregnancy or uh, reproduction on Earth and all of those things. So my mom was a bit um, surprised. But she said, okay, but just don't say that again. Like, and then I just didn't say anything. But not only that, there were many moments when I was a baby, but I could listen. I could hear people talking. I could sense their emotions. That's why I think, a lot of people think babies don't know anything, babies don't feel anything, but they do. They do, they feel, they hear. It's all inside. They just cannot express. Um, and yeah, that's when my spiritual journey started, 4 years old, and I didn't live with my mom until the age of 7, so she was still living in a city. Um, when she visited me once, I told her that I had a dream and that everyone's gonna die. In my dream, my grandparents passed away, and then my dad passed away. It was me, my mom, and my brother, and I was scared in the dream, but then my mom also passed away. So it was me and my brother left. So I told my mom, everyone's gonna die, including you, but you're gonna stay for a bit with us, and then you will die, and then it will be me and my brother only. And yeah, she wasn't happy. She said, it's just a dream, forget about it. But it happened. Um, my dad passed away, and then my grandparents passed away when I was, I think, 5 or 6, and then um, yeah, I was left alone to live with my uncle. The house wasn't very safe. It was very uh, yeah. Growing up, there was a lot of violence and things that a child wouldn't wish to grow up around. I just remember one day escaping and calling my mom and crying that I'm scared and I think I will die if you don't come and pick me up. Um, but yeah, she didn't know any of it. So as a young teenage mom, obviously she was trying to make ends with my brother in the city, and she had to. So she took me to live with her and my brother in the city, and we lived together. Growing up with my mom, and I didn't feel much. Honestly, growing up, I didn't feel much of that family feeling, the warmth
Hmm.
with nobody. Um, and it's something that I've developed only late in my adulthood. I didn't know what that love and unconditional love from your family members, what that is, what the blood ties are. I didn't know that. Growing up, it's just, to me, it was like a duty. She's my mother. I am the daughter. I have to be perfect. I have to earn her love. I have to do this and this. Um, so yeah, and obviously my mom was an amazing woman, uh, and she had a very tough life. Um, or her own struggles. So growing up and watching her, I yeah, I always wished that she would rest, you know. Uh, but at the age of 16, 17, that's when my mom passed away. Mm, and I completely forgot about the dream where I told her that she would die as well.
Huh.
But a week before her death, she told me, my brother, and she sat us in the kitchen and said, okay, guys, I am gonna die soon. And we were like, okay. And we were like, Mom, don't say anything like that. That's silly. We didn't
Because
want to
she was
listen.
sick? Was she sick or?
No, no. She just had a dream.
Oh,
So
wow.
we resisted listening to her story and like, oh God, Mom, you just had a silly dream and now you think you're dying. But she was very serious and said, these are my bank accounts. This is what you're gonna do. This is how you're gonna handle the funerals. This is what you're gonna, where you're gonna go. This is the friend you can call to. But me, my brother and I, we didn't want to listen to any of it. So, but it happened. So my mom passed away a week later from an accident, and um, that was shocking and very. I think, yeah, that's when I started. my depression started, and just living in the survival mode with my brother, it was something we were unprepared for, because you think that everybody you have in your life, they're gonna be there. You just have your
Right.
mom, your dad, your brothers and sisters. You fight, you argue over little things. But yeah, you just don't know how short life is. And the the last thing I heard from my mom was a morning kiss, and she said, "I love you," and then went to work, and she never returned. So I guess what I want to say is that eh, to always always tell your loved ones that you love them and you're there for them, even though you fight and things there are things that aren't good and perfect. Yeah. Anyway, the fast forward, we moved to Australia with my brother, with my stepfather and my sister. Um, yeah, we learned to live on our own. However, the depression didn't go away, and a lot of suicidal attempts that I had in order to finish life. And honestly, I think growing up, I had a goal of becoming an adult and then helping my mom. That was my dream. Like, I
Hmm.
wanted to be successful so I can look after my mom and provide her everything so she can rest. And that dream just um, was shattered, and I lost myself and lost who I am, lost who I was, not who I am. Um, but things, yeah, things weren't very good in Australia as well, especially when you move to another country and you don't know the language. You start working, started working everywhere. I think I've done any job you can think of: babysitting, dishwashing, kitchen hand, cafe waitress, everything. Um, and at the age of 23 was when I hit the rock bottom. You could say that. The survival, living in the survival, everything was the same, and I was getting bullied, and I was just, I couldn't take it anymore. Always, there is no money. I always have to work, always have to pay, and just didn't. I just remember thinking that there should be more to life than this. This isn't how things should work. Um, and yeah, one night I was walking back home from my job, and it was midnight. I was working as a bartender, so midnight. I'm walking home, and I see the moon, and the moon was really beautiful. I think it was the first time I looked at something um, outside of my mind, because obviously when you're in survival, you're inside your head most of the time. I looked at the moon, it was beautiful, and I just broke down. I ended up crying on the street and wishing for a miracle. I made a wish, I prayed, I said, well, if there is God and you're listening to me, you should know that you're stupid and I don't like you. I don't like the things you did, and your choices are stupid as well. But I said, but I cannot take my life like this anymore. And although I was mad that I don't have a person to rely on, like a parent, or how people have someone they can rely on. I said, I wish I had someone to rely on, but I guess I can have it, and I accept that. But I said, if you give me a chance and you show me the way, I promise, I swear to you, I will do everything I can to live. If you didn't take my life, because I tried committing suicide, and every time I was saved by oh, by miraculous ways. And I said, okay, you've saved my life many times, and if, I hope it's for a reason. You're not letting me die, and I'm not happy to live. So help me out, and I'll help you. You help me, you show me the way, and I'll help you, and I will do my best to serve and be a good person. And from then, um, that night, I actually had an out of body experience. I just went back to my apartment, and I woke up on my mother's lap,
Hmm.
just lying down, and she was looking at me and smiling. And I was in the very it was in a very bright room. Um, and yeah, my mom was very youthful. She looked probably like 20. And I was shocked. I thought, okay, I'm dead. I thought, okay, well, I'm dead now, or it's a dream. And then I looked around, I touched everything. I touched my mom. I said, like, you're not real. You're dead. And then I touched her shoulder, poked. Everything was real. She was warm. And I got even more confused. I was like, okay, so I'm either dead or this is a dream, but it doesn't really matter actually, because I can, at least I can say whatever I want. So I just expressed what I felt. I said, I missed you. I said, my life was really hard without you. And I said, I'm tired. I'm really tired. I said, I miss you and I wish you were here and I love you. I'm sorry for not being the best daughter, for not expressing myself enough. And yeah, she looked at me with a gentle smile, and she was just listening as if she's already known that I was gonna say all of those things.
Hmm.
And yeah, I was looking into her eyes, and I saw this, the you could say the universe maybe, but it was so beautiful. The eyes and the unconditional love I felt. I was very calm, and the I kept hugging her tightly and holding
Hmm.
to feel that she's real and warm, to not let go. And we suddenly there was a light that was coming down, a, a warm light. So I was getting sleepy. And I knew that I would follow. If I fall asleep, I'm gonna wake up. So I tried to stay awake,
Hmm.
but I couldn't. And then when I woke up, I just closed my eyes for a second and I woke up, but I was back in my bed in my apartment, and I had tears
Hmm.
on my face, and I still felt the warmth of my mom's hands. So my left hand, someone was still holding. So that was when I started crying even more. But then from that moment on, um, maybe a healing you could call happened, because the depression, every my thoughts, my loud thoughts, social anxiety I had, everything just went away. It was just like me gaining a superpower. It's like
Mm-hmm.
not a superpower, but becoming super conscious. That's what you can call. I was completely present, very present, and I could observe. I could see everything for what they are, people for who they are, and from the compassionate point, from a compassionate space. Everything got really easy, standing up for my bullies, and being able to speak up and place a boundary, and everything just was super easy. I realized that I just need to be out of my head and live in the present moment, and that's when you can channel your full power, fully, completely. Yeah, I there are many there were many out of body experiences I had, and I still have. Uh, just I guess it's just a skill. At this point, I think it's just a skill um, that happens when you need to hear something.
Mm-hmm. When you
And
do, well, you teach how to astral travel and you teach Well, I've been watching your videos on helping people that we all can do that. But when you, right?
Mm. Yes. So I don't teach, I share.
Or share.
I
Okay.
Yes. Um, yes, everybody can do it, but not everybody has to do it. The thing I learned is um, when you desire something, like you chase, it will not happen. So many people just want the out of body experience for with no intention at all. But when you have a strong intention and a genuine intention of um, learning something or helping, then it happens. And for some souls, they are for some souls, they have lived many lives, and they don't need to be in the astral realm. They actually need to be grounded as a human being. They don't need to do the astral projections or get the akashic records. Some souls, they don't even need to be aware of anything. They're not spiritual. Some people are like that, and they don't know anything, but they're just good people.
Hmm.
They're just so good people. They just know. You say something to them, you ask for an advice, they give you the simplest answers, and they just know that deep in their core. So for some souls, they're very grounded and they've lived on earth for so many lifetimes that they don't need any of that. And that's why some people, even if they want to, they can't, or they don't want to even. They're not even interested because they just know deep inside they don't need that. They've got the answers already and they've practiced, they've lived many lifetimes, they don't need. But for some souls, they still need to um, have the bridge open,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, in order to get the support they need. In my case, the out of body experiences, they supported me in the toughest times of my life where I wanted to give up, but they've kept reminding me of the things that I came to do to Earth, came to do on Earth. When I had one of the out of body experiences, I was flying out of Earth and I was finally free. I was yelling, I was flying, and I was like, oh my God, finally I am out. And I remembered who I was. I was like, oh my God, I took everything so seriously. Wow. And I just looked back on Earth. It was so beautiful. I was crying. I was like, oh my God, so beautiful. And then I just kept crying about how people forgotten the point of the game. I just looked back and I was like, oh my God, we forgot that the point of the game was to have fun as a human being, not to suffer and not all of that. Yes, suffering is part of it, the challenges, but taking it so seriously and resenting the life in general, saying, oh, life is tough, you gotta be this if you want to survive. And that wasn't the point. I just remember being super sad that, oh, we've forgotten that the point was to have fun.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I need to go back. And I remembered that, okay, I need to go back. And my mission was to let people know that it's actually fun to be a human, no matter how challenging it can be. But at the end, when you finish, when you graduate, you can say, when you finish, you look back and you think, oh, that was a dream. Because that's what I felt. I just woke up from a dream and I was like, wow, that was a hell of a ride, but fun. I want to go back. And that's something we were actually given a clue about. Like when we go to bed, we have dreams, right? And
Mhm.
they seem super real. And we wake up and we tell to our partners, like, I had a nightmare, I had this. It seems so real. That's the feeling that we get. That's the feeling I have in most of my out of body experiences. The earth seems like a dream, very distant.
Hmm.
But when we are here, our five senses, they allow us to experience everything. And it's so beautiful, like the food we taste, the sensations we have. But yeah, you miss all of that. So I
Huh.
just remember being very nostalgic about it and saying, okay, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna have fun now that I know who I am. Um, yeah, I went flying around and just watching people on Earth crying, and then I returned back to my body. And after that, a lot of things have changed, and yeah, a lot of things have changed. I promised to myself that I would allow the God or the universe to help me and follow my path. And many things have happened. I was invited to do a podcast. I didn't actually didn't didn't know how it didn't have an intention of doing anything like this or coaching people or teaching anything. It just happened, and I just remember like, okay, I'll go and share, and maybe it will help somebody. And then I did a second one, and I thought, yeah, maybe it will help one, two, 10 people. That I'll be happy if somebody's heart would be soothed, and somebody could feel that we're not that different and things aren't that bad. And then, yeah, the life just started aligning me slowly and slowly, and here I am
I know,
with
but
another interview.
well, just thinking that you're what age that was at, and now it's only like 4 years, 5 years ago that you experienced that moon night, looking at the moon.
Mhm,
Will you explain, we choose our life. We
mhm,
choose to come to this earth. And you
mhm,
were mentioning in an episode that I was listening to that they told you when you were going to die, but they haven't told you the year, but they told you the month, and how we pick
mhm,
our birthday, and we choose like you chose all your mom, your dad, your grandma. I mean, that was part of your pre-birth planning, right? So you are all explain how you see that with your
mhm,
family and why you
mhm,
come to Earth, really.
mhm. Yeah, that's true. We choose everything. It's like a karmic union. So, but we forget, and that there is a reason for that. The reason why we forget the choices we made, the reason why nobody can remember, and it's a good reason actually. It's the rule of the game is to forget. Why? Because if you knew, Ashley, like, okay, in your last life you were Kevin, and
Mhm.
let's say you had I don't know, you made an assumption about your wife and she left you, so you had a miscommunication or like communication issues, and in this life you're going to work on that because you're like, okay, in my last life I was Kevin, and in this I had communication issues, so I lost my loved ones. In this lifetime I'm going to be very gentle with my words, blah blah blah, right? And then how are you going to learn? You're not going to learn from your heart space. You're going to be learning from your mind. Like, okay, I'm not going to do this because it's going to accumulate more karma. I'm not going to do this because in my past life made that mistake, and the consequence was this. Because if we all remembered everything, then we wouldn't be able to remember again from our heart space and expand. And that's the place we are expanding the love that we have. Um, when we learn with each heartbreak and each challenge and argument and fights and all of those things, they open your heart a bit more and more and more to yourself and to other ones.
Mhm.
Um, every suffering you have, obviously, people say, so, like, how can we end the suffering? But if you look at it, when you reach the deep state of suffering, in my case, you realize how helpless you are. You realize how vulnerable you are. You realize that you need help. You
Mhm.
realize that you can't be all strong and I know it all and I've got it all figured out. You realize that you need to start relying. You need to start seeing and looking at people that are in the same boat as you that are suffering. You start feeling compassion for them, for yourself, and you start from there. You start learning that there are people that care for you as well, and they are able to help you. So the suffering teaches you a lot of things. We all forget all of these for a reason, but without it, it wouldn't be fun. That's the
Right.
point. Um, but the choosing your parents and it's in my case, it was very much choosing my parents specifically. It was related to their qualities. Qualities of my mom was a very strong-willed woman. She was very tough, very
Hmm.
tough, independent. My dad was on the other hand. I don't remember much, but I just remember he was very talented, very artistic, and uh, very goofy and naive. Um, and my mom used to tell me that he was like that. So in my case, um, the way I chose my life is based on my parents' qualities to carry through myself. At the same time, I used to cry a lot when I was younger and wish and pray. I wish I had a normal life. I wish I had parents. I wish I had a proper family to rely on and things like that. I used to cry a lot about it. But then I realized one thing, that family doesn't have to be by blood. And
Hmm.
right now, I have so many friends that care for me
Hmm.
all around the world, and so many people and deep friendships and genuine people in my life that cry when I cry, and if I tell them I over to you, I can book the flight right now. So many amazing people, and I feel loved, and I feel like I have a family.
Oh, I love
So
that. Because you're so loving and kind and giving. And I mean, of course, that's a reflection of you. And when you talked about, I mean, the things that you do in the world, and it's just the thing in Nepal and those children and your love for these children and their lives and how that opened your eyes to, really that pulled another one of your strings, I think, and opened up that part of you. But when you talk about like praying and now you understand like your spirit guides because you've been with them. And will you explain the spirit guides? And I feel like you had like 60 all at one time, like were looking in a room and you saw like there's so many, and how could I have so many? Do you remember that?
yes, yeah, yeah. Thank you for asking. Oh, yeah, it happened actually. It was an out of body or lucid dream experience. Can't tell the difference. Just remember that I had many questions. And that when I have questions, but actually I write them down before bed, and then they show up. If it's a very strong, willed question. And so I just remember I woke up in a dream, and then I was following a guy who opened the door for me, and I just went behind him, and I said, okay. And we entered a room which was very bright, and there was a couch. There were couches. So I sat on the couch, and there were many people standing and sitting on the couches in front of me. And then they told me like we are your guides. And I was like, that there is no way. I said, this must be a joke. I was like, who's the main guy? Who's the main guy? I want to ask many questions. And I said, who are my main guides? I need to know because I have so many questions. And they pointed at one lady and they said, well, maybe she's closer to you, but we are all your guides. And I said, okay. And the faces they had were surprisingly of all the faces of people I know from Earth. So
Huh.
it was all the people I've met in my life. Everybody I met. So the strangers I met, or customers I used to serve in the restaurant, or the bully I
Oh,
met,
wow.
and all my my relatives, distant relatives, they all had their faces. So I was like, this
Hmm.
is impossible because you are still on Earth. You can't be my guide. But the point they were saying is the guide isn't just someone who's up in the sky and helping you and whispering in your ear. The point they were making is that they were using people's faces for me in order for me to remember when I wake up, because if I see their real face, I will forget. So they put the faces of people from Earth, but then they told me it's not that we guide you only. It's everybody on Earth guides you. Everything that they say, every message that you get from people, it's all a guidance. So you can't just think that you can't just separate people
Mm-hmm.
on Earth and then think that um, the guides are the only ones you need to listen to. It's all together. So it's people that are here, they're still part of one. We're still part of the divine soul. So the messages, like the lessons we give each other, they are the message. So the point they were making is for me to not rely on two or three guides that I was sensing around me, but rely on uh, being here or on Earth. Rely on people that are here. Uh, see it all equal. They're equal, here equal, even though we forget a lot of things, but still the essence is pure love. So the guidance comes from all around. The point they were making was that because the the more you move in your spiritual journey, the more you need to integrate everything you know, everything you've learned to your life, and you will no longer need that guidance, like the upper guidance, but it will just come naturally out of you, and then you'll be able to match with people that are just uh, you just match with people that are in your frequency. They just you align with people
Right.
that are open-hearted. You align with them, so you don't need that support in the very beginning. Yes, you will be given a support to remind you through the challenges, through your patterns, but then slowly, the more you go deeper in your journey, the less you need guidance, but you just feel it. You don't
Right.
seek the guidance, you just feel it. It just comes outside from you and then
Hmm.
outside from people.
Is that your
That's what
goal? Is
happens.
that like our soul's divine plan when we come here is to get to that place? And then when we get to that place, do we not have to come to Earth anymore? I mean, you were talking about the volunteers that are coming now since
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
the last few years and how they're coming in phases and in different parts of the country, all over, it has to be in different so the
Hmm.
vibration of the planet's raising during this
Hmm.
awakening.
Hmm.
But
Yes.
I said too many things, but I was like, there's so many things I want you to share. But will you explain that? Where like, is it our soul's mission? Like when we decide to come to this earth, this dream or this game that we play, to raise our frequency and keep expanding our soul's growth? And then is there ever an ending to that?
Yes. Um, yes, that was actually many years ago. I had an out of body experience where they explained the volunteering choice I made and many souls, where they explained you're not alone and we are all raising the frequency to move and help the souls that got stuck. Not stuck, they're never stuck. It's just that they're still on the same level, or like a earth school, still on the earth school, you could call. And um, what was happening was the the new souls that are coming to lighten it up, and you can see actually new generation, younger generation, they're more advanced, they've so much, they're so wise if you talk to
Mhm.
children of this generation, and it's very natural for them to know the things that you've been learning about for many
Right.
years. But the purpose is not to it's not as simple. The purpose isn't to graduate. It's not. The purpose is to help other souls enjoy and then elevate, and then go up and enjoy. So they don't have to get they don't have to be in that karmic wheel of coming back and reincarnating and doing the same lesson again, again and again, but make it more enjoyable. So the point was for people, for the earth to be a fun place to go to, not to see it as a suffering place, but oh, it's a place that is tough with hard lessons, but you can go there and it's a choice. To make it a choice, like, oh, it's nice, we can go there, for everybody, not to be stuck. So the point is never to help everybody graduate. The point is help everybody expand, and come out of earth, and go, if they want to go back to earth. It's it's not like once you finish, you don't have to go to earth. If you decide, you can go back to earth. That's how I saw it, because it's a feeling, actually, because I feel deep inside that when I eventually I will die, and I would still come back. Like, that's how I feel. I still want to, even if I was told that, oh no, you don't need to, I think I would still choose to come back. So the mission is to make sure that everybody achieves this peace with the earth.
What does that look like? How do we achieve the peace? Especially right now. I don't watch the news, but I know it's not very peaceful.
Yeah, it is not. You can only control what you can control, and do your best only around you. And if everybody keeps doing the same thing, it's like a ripple effect. Do little kindness, do acts of kindness, and do what you can do, and as long as it doesn't hurt you. But you can't change the outside world. You can only accept it and see it and learn from it, and see what you don't want from it, and then change yourself to be the change for a new. That's the only way I could put it. But becoming at peace, it's, you gotta, the life is life, so it includes all the suffering and pain, and the joy, and the anger, anxiety, misunderstandings, betrayal. All of those things are included in word life. So once you know that life is life,
Right.
and with those things you learn from, then you become at peace with everything, and it becomes easier for you to be peaceful in those moments, and see and ask yourself, okay, what am I learning from this? What's the lesson here? What can I do to change myself? What can I do to help others? Then it becomes more, it's like a healthy detachment, but you don't completely obviously detach, but healthy detachment where you can peacefully approach things. Rather than avoid, because a lot of people, when they see suffering, they just get emotional, and they feel stuck. They feel helpless, like, I can't do anything. This is horrible. People are this, and we start separating people, like, to black and white, like, these are the good ones starting the war, these are the bad ones. I mean, these are the good ones suffering, these are the bad ones starting the war. But there's more to that. It's not just a war between people, it's the consciousness issues. So people with traumas, people that are acting out of their traumas, and people that are so it's just more than that. And if you look from a bit of a distant perspective, higher perspective, you can come to peace, and then see that the history repeats itself on earth. And why does it do that? Because there are many lessons that haven't been learned, And what you can do is do your part of changing yourself and finding the people that are aligned with you and do something from your end. And there are many like that. I see around me, especially younger generation. I I I highly, highly believe that the younger generation is the future and they are amazing.
Mhm.
The children I speak to, they just Gen Z. I think we call them Gen Z. They're amazing. They're just so wise and sassy, and they know their boundaries, and they teach you things without uh, knowing the depth of their like the
Right.
teachings, the insights. Um, and yeah, there are many people, although I hear many uh, perspectives on Gen Z and people that are unhappy. But especially my little sister, my brother, and their friends, I just listen to what they talk about, and it's so beautiful. And yeah, I think the things are changing, and those who are ready to see the change, they can witness. But those who decide to be in the victim zone or uh, not act, they won't be able to see it.
Right. I
Um,
see that.
yeah.
When you before I want to get into what you've been told the future is holding. But before that, what was coming to my mind was what is your perspective when you've seen in your out of body experiences, you've seen that realm, and you understand your humans realm, the earth realm. But is just a portion of your soul in this body in the other aspects because of our soul or like on another planet going there, or do you see it as all in within you right now, like this, your soul?
Mm, yeah, that's a good question. It's let's try explaining. Um, so we think that the soul is in the body, right? But it's not in the body. The soul has a body. So the soul is everything and it's huge. And it has this physical tiny meat suit body here on earth with senses and to experience the external. But the soul is much bigger. And when when you are when you become unconscious, like you just live in the external world. Let's say that when you put your attention to the external world a lot and you live to survive and you try to change everything that's outside of you, you think that you are your tiny body, so you feel helpless, you feel limited. But when you go inward, so let's say that you meditate often and you get to quiet your mind, then you start feeling how limitless and
Mm.
big you are, and the connection to everything. You start feeling, oh, you start, can you still hear me?
I can hear you. You did go
Yeah,
away, but it's okay. Can keep
yeah,
going.
the soul, when you feel that you are soul, um, the human mind is quiet and you feel with the heart space that you're connected to everything. So the bird you look at, the trees that you see, the humans that you look at, you just feel pure beauty and you feel the life force energy in them. You feel as if you are one. So it's, yeah, it's, you reach that when you meditate and when you go inward. At first, it will be scary to meditate. You'll resist, and you don't like what you see in your mind. You don't like your thoughts. You don't like your patterns. Um, but the more you do it, the more you start liking it. The more you start liking the internal world that you have, and you start becoming the observer that is that loving observer, not understanding that you're not this mind,
Right.
but the heart space. And you feel your soul and you feel other people's soul. It's just,
Mhm.
it becomes easier. Um, but yeah, everybody reaches that point. The things that you, let's say, in your very beginning of your spiritual journey, you learn from your mind, they become from the heart space. Like you in your mind, you can be grateful for things.
Mhm.
Um, but when you feel the gratitude from your heart, it's completely different. It brings
Right.
tears to your
Yes.
face, eyes.
I
Yeah.
love that. I live that way. I mean, I do my meditation or breath work in the morning, and I go for my walk with my dogs, and I'm in the trees and the birds and everything. It's just so, the way you're describing the way I live. And I love feeling that way. It's just, and I think when you're talking about like just when you are at that place in your life where you can become one with everything, you're like, and then what you were saying earlier, like peace with the earth, like I am at peace with the earth. Like I don't, I know everyone's on their own path and they're learning their lessons that they chose to do, and, not being triggered by things, but looking at it for, oh, wow, or if it does trigger me, wow, well, that's something that is in me that I need to really look at and just keep
Hmm.
evolving and growing. And yeah, I just, so amazing. And when I think of, the way you describe that has a different answer than I'm used to, and I really love that because it helps me understand it better. And when you say you can astral travel and you go, you make an intention at night for your dreams and everything. Do you Is that something, is it like not addicting, but do you like, oh, I want to do that so bad? Like, do you get to that place where you're like, oh, I can't wait to go to bed and see where I go and what is that you?
Um, yeah, it's a good question. That was me. That was me in the very beginning. So when I told you 23, and I started getting a lot of out of body experiences, it's the beginning of your spiritual journey. You become very hungry for knowledge. So
Hmm.
I was very hungry to know everything, just to go back and see my past lives and this. I was very excited, and uh, at some point I got a warning um, that I can't be in the astral realm for too long, and I was kicked out,
Oh.
twice kicked out, and I realized that it was me doing it from an egoistic
Mm.
perspective. It's like a it's like a child that got obsessed with the toy, and now I use the toy for not its purpose, but everything
Right.
else. So I got kicked out, and after that, I realized that if I want to be able to do it, I got to do it from the pure space. And it took me a while to be able to astral project because I got a bit scared of my own self, that I am so greedy and hungry for the knowledge and things. But it came back. And as soon as I've worked on the part that was, because a part of you, when you experience that, you want to be there. You
Hmm.
want to be there because it's much better. You think that, oh, it's so loving and so peaceful. I can do whatever I want. The things that you want manifest faster. There is actually no need for anything. You don't want material things. You don't crave anything. But so a part of you wants to be there, but then there is a part of you that's still human. So that is the part that wants to be there.
Right.
But actually, really, truly, you are always there. It's you still having a human experience and going back to it. Um, yeah, that I realized that I was trying to escape the human experience
Hmm.
or make it easier. Yeah, it's like looking for a shortcut to make it easier, but there is no shortcut.
Right.
And if you look for a shortcut, you have to go, you have to do it twice. Like you have to go through the same road
Uh,
twice. So it becomes longer.
right.
And yeah, I realized, okay, I'm looking for a shortcut. I gotta face this. My ego is playing. Um, so once I, yeah, faced that, it was over, and now I'm able to uh, um, just project when I have a strong intention, and it doesn't happen often because there's nothing I want, like
Mm,
there's nothing I crave for or want to know. But if there are people that are passing away or that are getting sick, they show up in the astral realm and they
mhm,
tell me that time their time's running out, and to tell me goodbye or to tell their loved ones goodbye. So just now it's like that, just the messenger part,
mm,
but the me uh intentionally going out, not anymore, just because I don't have I don't have a reason to do that. It's
right.
more fun here,
Oh,
because things are more real here. Uh, when you astral project, they're fun, but it's not the same
right.
as Earth. It's
Huh.
different.
When you saw your mom that day and said you felt her and she was warm and you
Mhm.
had actually something to hug, how do you translate that?
Um, it's the exact it's the body warmth that you have, and like the way you are able to hug your daughter and feel, it's the same way. It just felt so real that
Hmm,
I was very confused and wasn't sure if that was me dying and this is the afterlife or a realistic dream. So yeah, that was the in the astral realm. Everything is touchable and everything seems real, but it's not the same as on Earth. It's still different. Um, I don't know, maybe I can't explain. Maybe on Earth it's different because it's all new to us still, but there
yeah.
it's we've known it, we've already known it,
Hmm.
and it's comforting feeling. It's like more of a comforting feeling because it's all normal. But here on Earth, it's still new. You still, yeah, you're still learning, so it feels different. The excitement part goes away on the other side. The excitement that I have on Earth, like
Oh, okay.
the surprises that I have, like, oh, I never know what happens. Like I'm happy now and everything is temporary. Your emotions are temporary. You're happy now, and a few seconds later you are irritable about something. So the emotions change so quickly, and that's so exciting because the all is impermanent. But there it's not um, there is no excitement and surprise. It's just like all comfort. It's
Right.
like all love and comfort. That's my sister and I joke about it. She says, just imagine that we have no ego on Earth. It would be boring. She's
Right.
14, by the way. She
Oh.
says it would be so boring if we had no ego. We would all be saying sorry to each other all the time, like, "Oh, I stepped on your toe. Sorry, 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 sorry." And she was like, "There would be no drama. Where would
Oh,
no there would be no
right.
lessons."
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Let's
yeah,
let's end on um, what you see in the next 10 years and what you've learned from your spirit guides and what they've allowed you to or told you or whatever you do. But
hmm
how you see I know you talk about the education system and um, I also like when you're saying that about your sister, like thinking she's 14, I have a 15 and an 18-year-old, this generation that's coming up and that where they're going to be, my oldest is going to college in a couple months and
hmm
we'll start that experience. But where do you see that in like 10 years from now? Because I've had interviews with people that are like in 2027, the da da da, we're like it's not far. It's like we're really close to these years where things are really going to
yeah.
start to really, really uncover their
hmm
magic.
Mhm. That's true. Um, the future, in the future, this is how I feel. Everything is actually already changing in the present moment. Um, from our younger generation, starting from your children, my siblings, and everybody, the younger generation, Gen Z, or the younger, even younger, they are already changing many things. If you listen to them, they speak up, they have no filter, they communicate well, and they see the problems. They are not afraid to face it and say it. So the changes are already happening, and in the future, it's gonna be more of a conscious world where people are able to recognize their traumas and their actions. They can explain, they can communicate. So the life isn't Earth uh is not gonna become just simple with no challenges and no lessons. It's not gonna be like that. It's not gonna turn into heaven. It is already heavenly good, but it's uh with its own level. With So the lessons are still gonna be the same. It's just how people are gonna handle and treat life is gonna change.
Hmm.
Um, and the message has always been simple. Every religion that we have, they a bit failed to deliver the messages and got a bit distracted, you can say.
Right.
But the message has always been simple. It was always about love, that love can save you in every moment of your life, and love is the only thing that guides you. And the answer has always been simple. And in the future, people are going to be able to recognize that. I think um, not sure what's going to happen to the religions, but I think they're going to slowly disappear. But at the same time, their teachings are still going to live. And their teachings are like a roadmap, starting from Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism. They all have actually the answer within. It's just that they misinterpreted it and then started separating into, it's like a map. Humans were given a map, and instead of learning from the map and then going and exploring if the map is truthful and real, people just got stuck on the map and saying, my map is the best, yours is wrong. And they just
Right.
got stuck there instead of using it as a guidance and then seeing and experiencing for themselves. So the religions are going to fail at that. But then I don't know if other people feel this way, but I think there's something that's going to happen, uh, which needs, there's some, there's something that has to happen for people to unite. Because if the purpose of religions was to unite people over a purpose, now with the new age spirituality, people are awake, but they get lost. And then a lot of them, they don't know how to balance and they just don't know the answer. It's very vague. They feel crazy. And then I don't know, they start going everywhere, but then not having the purpose. But the what we need to learn from religions is the unity and oneness over something, having one purpose, having one faith. So the faith has to be love, and the inner religion for everybody has to be love, which would be the guidance and unity. But uh, in the future, there's gonna be something that's gonna happen to unite people, something like a religion, but not a religion.
Hmm.
Something Because something that will make you feel your free will and freedom fully and explore. Um, Whereas with the religions, you think that this is your faith, you are right, this is fixed. But
Right.
there's going to be something that will allow you to be very open-minded and open-hearted towards everything and learn from it, but at the same time unite people over one purpose of serving each other, helping in the sense of community. And the spiritual journey is going to move towards that integration, because right now there are many people awakening, and then many messages, and it's going all around. And I see many people come to me for consultations. A lot of people in their spiritual journey, a lot of people that still suffer in their spiritual journey and lost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's gonna be something that will help unite and create almost like a guidance for life on earth, but not a rule, but a guidance that
Right.
will help.
Huh. Neat. Oh gosh, this has been so fun. And I've um, already gone, an hour goes by so fast when I could just keep going with you. And it's just been beautiful. What, is there anything that, any last parting messages that you could share before we let people know how to find you?
Yes. Thank you. My last message would be to take everything lightly and to live a simple life. Um, no matter what is in your plan or what's in your goals in life, um, the most important value should be people, your family, your friends, people that care for you, people that are around you. Everything else is easy and it will be handled easily. So don't worry much about your goals or money or materialistic side or be success, and don't get attached to any of those,
Hmm.
because they will be left behind. But what you will take with you when you finish your life is how you lived it, how you felt, how people around you felt, your memories, your experiences. So don't worry much about how life looks, but rather how it feels. And yeah, one of my friends, she's 84.
Hmm.
She works in the library. I asked her to give me one piece of advice one day, and she's not very talkative
Uh-huh.
and not very spiritual either, just very practical person. And she said, well, life isn't hard and it's not easy. Just take it as it comes, which is the truth.
Hmm.
I believe that you don't need to label life and try to label it or make it or shape it into something, but just take it as it comes, one step at a time, and focus on how you feel.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How can people find you?
Uh,
Instagram?
yes, my website is my name, basically arkemuratova.com, and my Instagram is the same, arkemuratova.com, and the YouTube channel is Divine Inside.
Yes.
Yes,
And oh
that's
my
where.
gosh, go to our YouTube channel, go to her Instagram. You will just be mesmerized with your love and your kindness and what you want to, what you're contributing. Uh, it's just infectious. Like you just, I'm pulled to you when you're talking because it's just coming. It's pure love is what I could say is about. You are all love because you know that that is really what it is love. You've got that down. Oh, thank you so much for being here. And I just look forward to following your journey even more. And um, in a couple years, I can just imagine what you'll be doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me. And if people listen till the end, thanks for listening. And you too. Thanks for what you're doing. And very excited to stay in touch and see where we'll be at in the future.
Yes. Yes.